Welcome to Colorlight Designs, where we feature short stories inspired by the art and designs of Mercury McCutcheon. This artwork and short story is called Earth Covers Earth. If you like this piece, please visit Colorlight Designs linked below and download your free digital print. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the story. In a world not so different from our own, where magic still dances in the corners of our eyes and nature whispers its secrets to those who listen carefully, there lived a special kind of wind. This wasn't just any ordinary breeze that rustles leaves or carries away forgotten umbrellas. Oh no, this was a collector wind, one of those rare and wonderful winds that gather beautiful things from all around the world. Our wind, who called himself Whisper, though most winds don't usually have names, had a rather unusual hobby. While other winds were content to simply blow where they pleased, Whisper loved to collect colors, patterns, and shapes from every place he visited. He was like a flying artist with an invisible backpack full of treasures. On sunny days, Whisper would drift through flower gardens, borrowing the soft pink of rose petals and the bright yellow of daffodils. During autumn afternoons, he'd swirl through piles of leaves, gathering rich oranges and warm browns. He even visited the deepest parts of forests at midnight, collecting the mysterious greens that exist in the shadows of ancient trees. But Whisper's favorite places to explore were the hidden corners of the earth that most people never saw. He would squeeze through tiny caves decorated with sparkling crystals, dance across desert sands that sparkled like gold, and float above mountains so tall their peaks wore clouds like fluffy hats. One particularly beautiful spring morning, while Whisper was playing hide-and-seek with some maple leaves — winds are surprisingly good at games — he noticed something unusual. In a small clearing surrounded by ancient oak trees, there sat a woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes that seemed to contain entire galaxies. This was Elara, though Whisper didn't know her name yet. What caught Whisper's attention wasn't just Elara herself, but the huge blank canvas in front of her. It was the whitest, most empty canvas he had ever seen, and Whisper had seen quite a few canvases in his travels. But unlike other artists' canvases that seemed to beg for color, this one appeared to be waiting for something special. Elara sat very still, her paintbrush hovering above the canvas like a bird afraid to land. She had been sitting this way for hours, waiting for inspiration to strike. You see, Elara wasn't just any artist. She was known throughout the land as someone who could paint the unpaintable. She had once captured the sound of children's laughter in watercolors and had sketched the feeling of eating warm cookies on a cold day. But today, she faced her greatest challenge yet. She wanted to paint the very essence of Earth itself. Whisper, being a naturally curious wind, couldn't resist getting a closer look. He floated nearer, carrying with him all the wonderful colors and patterns he had collected. As he circled around Elara, something magical began to happen. First, a few specks of desert gold sprinkled onto the canvas, creating tiny stars of brightness. Then some forest green swirled across the white surface, making patterns like fern leaves unfurling in spring. Deep browns from ancient tree bark spiraled outward, while soft grays from mountain mists created gentle shadows between the shapes. Elara's eyes grew wide with wonder as she watched the colors dance across her canvas. Without thinking, she dipped her brush into her paints and began to follow the patterns Whisper was creating. Together, they started to work in perfect harmony, Whisper sharing his collected treasures and Elara bringing them to life with her skilled brushstrokes. As they worked, the design began to take shape. It started at the edges with patterns that looked like forests seen from high above, all interconnected and flowing. Then came rings of mountains and valleys, each circle telling its own story of the landscapes Whisper had visited. There were patterns that looked like river systems viewed from the clouds, and others that resembled the tiny veins in leaves when you hold them up to the sun. Deeper and deeper toward the center they worked, adding layer upon layer of Earth stories. There were sections that captured the way shadows move across desert dunes, and others that showed how waves create patterns in beach sand. Some areas contained the secret shapes of underground crystal caves, while others displayed the delicate structure of snowflakes. Hours passed like minutes as they worked. The sun crossed the sky, Clouds drifted by, and still Elara and Whisper continued their creation. Other winds passed through the clearing, carrying the scents of distant places, and each one added their own small touch to the growing mandala. As they approached the center of the canvas, Elara felt something shift in the air. The design needed something special at its heart, something that would tie all the other elements together. Whisper seemed to understand too, because he suddenly rose high into the air, spinning faster and faster until he created a tiny whirlwind. When he returned to the canvas, he carried with him the most precious colors he had ever collected. The deep green of moss growing in ancient forests, the rich brown of earth after rain, the soft gold of sunshine filtering through leaves, and countless other hues that didn't even have names. These colors swirled together at the center of the mandala, creating a powerful core that seemed to pulse with life. As Elara added the final brushstroke, something extraordinary happened. The entire mandala began to glow with a soft, warm light, as if it had captured not just the colors and patterns of the earth, but its very spirit. Looking at it felt like seeing the whole world at once. Every forest, mountain, desert, and ocean, all connected in one beautiful design. Whisper, delighted with their creation, danced around the canvas one last time, adding a final sparkle to the paint before floating away to continue his travels. But he left behind something special, the ability for anyone who looked at the mandala to feel the same sense of wonder and connection to the earth that he felt on his journeys. Elara named their creation Earth Covers Earth, because it showed how every part of nature was connected to every other part, creating an endless cycle of beauty and life. The mandala became famous throughout the land, not just for its beauty, but for the way it made people feel when they looked at it. Some said it helped them remember to take care of the earth, while others claimed it helped them feel more connected to nature. The end. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to stop by colorlightdesigns.com and grab your free digital print.